if you're trying to figure out how to make time for self-care when you have none, then you're definitely in the right place, because I've been there. I am a mother of three, including a set of toddler twins, and I am a wife, I'm a business owner, I work, I'm a homeowner, I basically have so many things to do. So I wanted to share what has been working for me. And first I wanted to define what self-care is, because sometimes when I am speaking to friends and family and stuff about self-care, a lot of the times the question comes up around what self-care actually is. So self-care, as defined by the Oxford Dictionary, it is the practice of taking an active role in protecting one's own well-being and happiness, in particular during periods of stress. And I think sometimes where we get confused is that we think that self-care means a particular thing, but self-care is really individual, and it depends on the type of person you are, it depends on what you enjoy, it depends on what you like to do, what makes you feel good. All of those things can help you to define what self-care looks like to you. So I don't want any of you guys to feel any pressure to do things that you actually don't like doing. So if you're not somebody who doesn't like to get your nails done, just because, you know, self-care might fit under that category, it doesn't mean that you have to force yourself to do that. So then the other conundrum that arises from trying to figure out that is understanding what you actually like. So I know that for some people that is also not clear. They're not really sure about what they enjoy, or they're not really clear on things that bring them joy or make them feel nice. They're kind of just going through life and, you know, taking it day by day and just trying to get through it. But I would definitely suggest that if you are trying to figure out how to make space for self-care, then having a clear understanding of what self-care means to you is very important. So if you are the person that I've described and you're somebody who doesn't really know what they enjoy, or hasn't really figured out entirely how to love on themselves, then I would definitely recommend exposing yourself to things. So go out, do things, try new things. If you've never been to a pottery class, go to a pottery class. If you've never gotten your hair done, try getting your hair done. If you've never been to a spa, go to a spa. Don't be afraid to try and do new things, because in exposing yourself to new things, you are able to get an understanding of what you like. Think of it like food. If you don't try a food, you can't say if you like it or not. So the first thing would be to try and figure out what you like and what you don't like. I read a book that also suggested sit down one day and write down all of the times in your life where you felt the happiest. And that can be a good starting point to think about all the things that you enjoy, right? So usually for me, all of those things are basically experiences, but that's not the same for everybody. Some people, it might be when you bought something, or, you know, when you got gifted something. Once you have an idea of all of those things, then the next thing to do is create space. And I think that sometimes we struggle to do this part because we're not very clear with the people around us. Most of us, if not all of us, are surrounded by people that love us. You might not always feel that love, but chances are most of the people in your life loves you very much, and those people who love you want the best for you. However, they are not mind readers. So if you need time for yourself, then you need to say it. You need to tell someone. Don't keep it inside. Keeping quiet doesn't help anyone. If you find it hard to speak up, then maybe just try and find one person. Maybe send a text message, write it down, leave it in a letter, send a voice note. Somehow try and find a way to tell someone that you need some time to yourself. And this is really important because I believe anyway that life is really about setting the tone. You teach people how to treat you, and so no one's going to know that you need or want time to yourself if you don't say it. What I do is express that I'm feeling slightly overwhelmed, or I think I need a break, or, you know, this is all too much for me and I need some time for myself. And usually what happens is the people around me will usually say, okay, well then, you know, how much time do you need? How can I help you? If you are not surrounded by those kind of people, or the response is not similar to that, there is still a benefit to expressing that. For people who are not used to you speaking up, it might be something unusual for them. So you might have to say it a few times for them to get the hint. But the main point is to make sure that you're expressing that you need some time. Another thing that you need to do that leans slightly into this is release your self-inflicted expectations. Sometimes these self-inflicted expectations do stem from societal pressures, so they're not necessarily always made up out of thin air. There are sometimes things that we put pressure on ourselves to do or not do. You know, we always have to be present, we always have to be available, we must always put ourselves second, put the kids come first. You know, make sure that you're not doing anything that's taken away from the kids or taking away time from them or anything like that. And I think that part of figuring out how to self-care is to let those things go. There is no law that says that you should be doing anything at any particular age. I think that just in general, as humans, we maybe when we're 20, we think that we should, I don't know, have finished school and we should have a job and we should do this and we should do that. At 30, then it's like, okay, well, I should be married, I should have a husband, I should do this. And by 40, then there's different ones. It's almost as though we inflict these kind of rules on ourselves on what we think we should be doing because that's what we see everybody else doing. When we put that kind of pressure on ourselves, it almost makes it impossible to speak up if you're feeling something that you don't think fits in with the norm. But we are all individuals and we all deal with stress, we all deal with life differently. And what's really important is understanding yourself, or if you're Jamaican, overstanding yourself. You need to be in a position where you understand what works for you, you understand what doesn't work for you, you understand when you need a break, you understand when it's too much, you understand when your mental health is being compromised, where your physical health is being compromised. Your body will give you clues. If you are feeling poorly often, or you've got anxiety or depression or you've got stress, all of these things is your body kind of telling you that you need to either slow down or you need to pay attention to something. And in order to pay attention to yourself, you need to create space. So the next thing to do would be to create a goal. Now, creating goals can be a bit complicated, but the simple version of creating a goal is just try and make it as realistic as possible. If you're somebody who hasn't created a goal before for yourself, then maybe create a more short-term goal. Maybe in the next month, I want to go for a walk by myself. Something fairly easy to do, something simple, and something that you can measure how successful you are with it and whether you enjoyed it quickly enough. So what I usually do with my goals is I set the goal and then I work backwards. I want to do this and then I'm figuring out, okay, how am I going to get there? Do I need to find someone to watch the kids? Do I need to take a few days off work? After you've set and achieved, or even set and not achieved goals, but been able to kind of review them and figure out why, I would say that the next thing to do would be to try and create routines. Now, I think that once you've been able to create some space and set the expectations with the people around you, it is then a good time to explain that every Thursday, I'm going to be doing this. Every Thursday morning for 2 hours, I need you to do this so I can do that. So for me, I stay in hotels. So I'll pick a day of the month. I don't go every month, maybe every few months. I'll pick a day in a hotel and I'll tell my husband, you need to watch the kids for a night. For me, I know that I enjoy being by myself. I enjoy quiet. I enjoy a good sleep. Creating that space helps me to achieve all those things. Once you've figured out what you like doing, it might be something that, okay, every Wednesday I want to go to a paint class. Once every other Tuesday, I'm going to get a pedicure. Or even if I'm not going to pay for someone to do it, I'm going to do it myself, but I'm going to go and sit in an empty room. I don't want anyone to disturb me for an hour. Self-care can be as grandiose or as less grandiose as you want it to be, right? It doesn't have to look a particular way. So the next tip would be to take up offers of help. Now, I struggle with this myself, but sometimes when we are stressed or when we are overwhelmed or actually when we are just doing life, we will have people around us offer help, and our knee-jerk reaction is just to say we're okay, right? Somebody says to you, are you okay? Do you need some help? Knee-jerk reaction is just like, yeah, I'm fine. I'll figure it out. I think that getting used to accepting help really can help you create space for yourself, but also get used to being taken care of. Ultimately, we all deserve it. Right? Life's hard and most of us are trying our best, although we're not always getting it right. We're trying our best. We're trying to do the right thing. And so we deserve to be taken care of. It's okay if somebody wants to do something for you. It's all right. I really like the analogy of when you're on the plane and they're giving you the emergency exit rules, and they always say to you, put your mask on before you put the mask on anyone else. So if you've got a child with you, or somebody elderly, or somebody who needs help with their mask, make sure you've got yours on first. And I definitely see self-care in that way. If I'm busy putting the mask on everybody else, then I might not even find enough time to put my own on. I think that sometimes we think that self-sacrifice or being selfless, not caring about ourselves, caring about others before we care about ourselves is almost the honourable thing to do. I hear mothers all the time say, oh, I do everything for my kids. I don't even do anything for myself. I do everything for them first. I'm not saying that you should neglect the kids, right? Because of course not. But you want to be the best for them, and you can't be the best for them if you're not taking time to take care of yourself first. And you've got to remember as well, everybody loves you, including the kids. So the kids aren't going to want you to be suffering and struggling unnecessarily. It's good for them to see you taking care of yourself. It's good for them if you're feeling good. All parts of self-care benefits you and the people around you. So I think that it's also really important to have a bit of change in your mind frame around what neglecting yourself actually achieves, because I don't think it really achieves what we think it does. It's really not selfish to put yourself first. This does not mean that you don't care about other people, or you don't consider other people, or you just say, oh well, I'm going away for a week and I don't care what happens, and I'm just going and you guys can just deal with it. Of course not. Within reason, it's really important to make yourself a priority and make some space for yourself. The next tip is that there is value in the intangible. As part of my master's, I did I think it was like a finance module, and in that module, I'm sure there's some of you who know about accounts, but basically when you're doing accounts, you account for the tangible and the intangible. That is the things you can feel or see. So a tangible would be like a computer, and the intangible might be something like brand recognition. So for example, there's value in Coca-Cola that is not just tangible. It's not just the Coke in the Coke bottle, but also the fact that the brand is recognizable, and sometimes people are more likely to trust that brand, therefore that brand has value. But that also goes for everyday life. Sometimes we are making ourselves suffer because we can't touch the thing. So for example, I've got to go down the road. It's a 20-minute walk. So I could walk for 20 minutes, or I could spend £2 and get on a bus or get in a cab and go up the road. Because when I've gotten in the cab and I get out of the cab, I have nothing to show for it, I'm going to walk. I think what's important to know is that things that make your life easier have value, and the value is your time, the value is your effort, the value is your brain power. We're not understanding the value of not having to do the thing. I've accepted that I'm willing to put my energy and my time in some things, and for the things that I'm not willing to put my energy and time into, I'm going to put money and make it be easier. And so I know that's not always an option for everybody. Times can be hard, and sometimes we don't always have money to throw at things. I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you do have somebody to throw at something, sometimes say yes, because it's actually worth it and it is a form of self-care. Why are you making your life hard for no reason? Just pay. So the next tip that I have is to sleep. I have realized since having children that lack of sleep actually makes me lose my mind. And I was talking to a friend about it, and she was saying that sleep deprivation is actually a strategy that they use in wars as torture. And when she said that to me, something in me really clicked, because I'm like, actually, why am I literally torturing myself by knowing that I need to get sleep and not making time to sleep? I would encourage all of you, if you are sleep deprived, try and find some time to sleep. Lack of sleep can really affect the way that you see the world and the way that you see things, the way that you manage stress, the way that you feel about yourself. So I hope that you guys have found these tips helpful. I do actually have loads more. So if you are interested in this topic, do let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.